Um, on this video, I'm going to share with you the #1 strategy to use when your crowdfunded comic still has a long way to go to get funded. Hey, everybody, I am Tyler James. I am the publisher of Comics Tribe. I've used Kickstarter to help build a successful comics, graphic novel, and children's book publishing business. And inside my program, Comics Launch Pro, I regularly help comic book creators build audiences and launch successful crowdfunding projects to those audiences. If you are new to crowdfunding or if you're looking to level up your crowdfunding game, I do want to share a quick resource with you. It is my my comic book Kickstarter roadmap. This is a roadmap to help you plan your first or next successful comic book Kickstarter. You can get that over at comicslaunch.com/roadmap. All right. So if you haven't downloaded that yet, I hope you'll go get it. But today, I want to get really strategic and tactical with you and share what is perhaps my favorite strategy that I've taught over the years. And I got a message today from a creator, and I couldn't find a really quick, easy video or podcast episode to send them to. And so I wanted to jump on and create this video. But the message I got from a creator was something like this. It said, "Hey, Tyler, I'm currently actually running an Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign, and we're having some issues getting the comic funded." The creator said that they've funded 2 campaigns already in the past, but this one, for whatever reason, they're seeming to struggle. They did say that they're planning on posting to all of their social medias on a daily basis. They are doing things like including shipping and handling in the price, and they have some interviews coming up over the next couple of weeks to get some coverage to promote their thing. But they sort of asked me, is there anything else that they should be doing? And so I have big thoughts for them. The good thing for these creators is that they have their goal, they have a past track record of success to fall back on, and they know that, hey, these campaigns are going to take some work and take some action to get results, and so they're planning on taking action to get visible. And so I think all of those things are good. But I checked out their page, and I noticed that they were not employing what is really, for me, my #1 strategy that I recommend to creators who are in this situation. And so if you are a creator who has launched a crowdfunding campaign and maybe the initial launch day or the first couple of days of that launch has worn off, and you realize, oh, okay, I've still got a lot of funding to go to get to 100% funded. Or maybe you're someone who launched, got off to a great start, but now you're in the middle of the campaign and you're close to funding, but for one reason or another, it just seems like things have slowed down way, way down, and you are maybe starting to panic a little bit, or you're starting to, you had a bunch of really cool ideas for stretch goals that you were sure you were going to be able to roll out, and now you're worried you won't even get to them. So what do you do if you're in that situation? Because you really want to get to funded because you know that you have a lot more to share during the campaign. And so, again, this is a strategy that is taught extensively in my Comics Launch Pro program. And I've talked about it, I know, on the podcast that I've been doing for over 6 years. And I've mentioned it, I'm sure, in a ton of videos over the years. But for whatever reason, I couldn't quickly find an easy one to share with this creator. And so that's just a sign to me that, hey, I need to jump on live here in 2022 and get a new video out where I talk about this. And so that's what I'm doing here. But I want to, before I share the strategy, I did want to just share what I see as the big mistake that creators are making that are not using this strategy. And because if we can fix that mistake, that mindset, it's actually going to make everything else that you're going to do during the rest of your campaign so much easier. And the mistake is this. The mistake is when you're in the middle of a launch or a campaign and you've got an ambitious funding goal that you're going for, and you know it's going to take a while to get there. The mistake is to focus on how far away you are from that funding goal. All right. And so this is something that you see creators get in where it's like, all right, we're launched, but I'm only at 30%, right? I'm only at 30%. And that means I have 70% more to go. And that can seem like a daunting task and that maybe you'll never get there, right? But I want you to imagine you were running a marathon, for example. I'm not a big runner, but I've talked to runners. But I think we can all imagine, if even if we've only, run a mile and that was enough for us. But if you're running a marathon and you're running and you're out, and then that first time where you start to feel yourself getting a little bit tired, getting a little bit winded, your pace starts to slow down a little bit. If at that moment you then start shifting your focus to the fact that you have, say, 20 miles left in this marathon, is that focus going to make you more or less energized as you keep going? All right, think about that. Likewise, a lot of artists and writers and comic creators that I work with, well, if you're working on a graphic novel, say you're an artist, you're working on a graphic novel, and you've just completed the first 10 pages of this graphic novel series that you're so passionate about, so thrilled about. And then you start, as you finish that 10th page, you start thinking about the work it's going to take to get all 150 pages of the graphic novel that you conceive. That's what you're going to have to do. You got 150 more pages to go. Like, is that going to make you feel more energized or less energized? Is that going to make you feel accomplished, more accomplished, or less accomplished? Well, I'm guessing for both the marathon and the graphic novel, if you're focusing on how far you still have to go at that moment, it's actually going to set you back a little bit energetically and make you feel a little bit worse. In crowdfunding, if you're focusing on the gap between where you are and where you have to get to, and there's a lot of percentage still left to go, that can become really daunting, and it can sour your mood and sour your passion and sour your energy and take some of the wind out of your sails. And so instead of doing that, instead of making that mistake of focusing on how far you are away from your funding goal, instead, the correction that I want you to make to this is to just focus on that next cool milestone towards the goal. And that milestone should be something that is within reach. All right. And within near reach. So again, back to my marathon example. If you're running a marathon, don't focus on the 20 more miles you have to go. Focus on, say, hey, that cool bridge that's coming up in less than a mile that has a really great view and that's going to be awesome to hit, right? Let's get to that bridge. All right. That's their attitude that's going to get you to the bridge, right? And then when you get to the bridge, well, what's the next cool milestone along the way? That's going to help you have your mindset right and by achieving an attainable near-term goal. Likewise, if you're drawing your comic and you got 10 pages down, well, instead of focusing on the 150 more to do with the series that could take over a year or years, even depending upon how much time you have to devote to it, just focus on the 12 next, the fact that, hey, I've got 10 down, and that means I'm only 12 away from having that complete first issue, right? That's going to make you more motivated to keep going. Likewise, with crowdfunding, instead of focusing on how far you are to that 100% funded mark, instead, I want you to find a cool crowdfunding milestone that you can focus on, that you can sort of promote and advertise and get your fan base rallied around the fact that, hey, this cool next milestone is coming up and we're actually really close to hitting it. Now, what do I mean by a cool crowdfunding milestone? Well, this can be anything really, right? It could be percentage funding. Kickstarter makes it really easy to see what percentage funding you are. So a cool milestone could be 30%, 50%, 75%, 90%. Doesn't really matter. It's just something that is not the 100%, the full gap away that you are, but something that is within reach, within striking distance of where you are right now. All right. In addition to funding percent, you could also just do funding amount. We all just naturally gravitate to like cool milestone numbers. So, and it doesn't matter whether it's $500, $1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 25,000. It's all relative, but any of those milestone numbers, or even some cool, like random, like, $1,234, like, hey, we're so close to 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, we're close to 666, like we're close to 999, whatever it is that you want to come up with, and want to announce that, hey, you think this is a cool amount. can be a cool funding amount. In past Kickstarter campaigns that I've done, I've used the milestones of previous successful launches as our dollar amounts. So, for example, on one of our campaigns, we said, "Hey, at $33,044, we will actually surpass our campaign from 2015 or whatever." It doesn't really matter what the number is, as long as it's a number that you want to say is important. All right. In addition to that, you could do things like your project follower count. So if you want to do something that didn't require anyone to actually become a backer, all they have to do is click that sort of love button on your Kickstarter page so that they become a project follower. Well, it turns out Kickstarter is really great at turning project followers into eventual backers by sending them reminders and other things. So, you could make that a milestone, or that's something that you're trying to celebrate or get to. It could also be interaction or commenting on your Kickstarter page or on a special social post. You could, turn that into a crowdfunding milestone. But you get the picture here, all right? And the reality is you get to create it. You get to create what the milestone is, to announce what the milestone is, and put your focus there as something to focus on, instead of just focusing on, hey, we've still got such a long way to go to get funded. All right. So hopefully, and if you're someone that happens to be watching this video and you've employed a milestone strategy or have milestones in place, you can let me know in the comments, or I'll definitely watch the replay as well. But you may be thinking right now, okay, Tyler, well, I can see the idea from drawing a graphic novel or running a marathon or crowdfunding, like how that might help you mentally, right? If you can break it down, instead of focusing on the gap or the distance still to go, you can focus on something that's more attainable that you're going to hit. You can see how that might help the mentality of being in the crowdfunding game, and how it could make it so that you're not, panicking and really focused on the progress. But how does that strategy actually change your campaign performance? How does that improve things? How does that actually encourage people to back your campaign? Because you can have the best mental state in the world, right? You can feel as positive as possible, but that doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to back your campaign. And so the magic that you add to this is that I want you to add one little thing that you're going to do to each of these milestones that you decide to celebrate. All right. So what I want you to be thinking about is, okay, I've got a milestone coming up. And what do we do when we have milestones? When we hit milestones, we celebrate them. All right. And so what is one thing that you can do to celebrate that next key funding milestone and reward all of the backers that are already rolling with you on this campaign? And it's something that you can announce that everyone who happens to jump into the campaign to help you get to that next milestone and actually hit that near-term milestone, well, they're going to get it too. All right. And so this is what I call like a milestone bonus. And milestone bonuses have been something that I don't use. I'll be honest with you. I've done over 25 Kickstarter campaigns myself now, over nearly $1 million raised on just the Kickstarter platform for the projects that my collaborators have been a part of. And I'll be honest, I don't always use this strategy. There are some campaigns where I really design them that, hey, this is a campaign I'm designing to get funded in the first, say, 2 hours or 5 hours, or the first day, definitely. And so that's a strategy that I've done for some campaigns. There have been other campaigns. An example of another campaign is the Scam Kickstarter campaign, which was a large graphic novel project that I worked on with Joe Mulvey. And this was a campaign that, oversized book. It was the biggest book I've ever published as over 300 pages, just a massive book, ton of talent in there. It's collected the entire Scam series, and then it had over 100 pages of new content in a Scamthology, all in one sort of ultimate collection. Really beautiful, gorgeous, oversized book. But it was not going to be cheap, right? We had a $25,000 was our goal on Kickstarter. And so this was something that, in order to get this project rolling, we had to get at least that 25K mark. And I knew it was going to take a while because, our previous best campaign had only done about $26,000 when we launched this one back in when was this? Back in 2000 and I don't know, 15 or something, 2014. Um, so yeah, so in order to get there, we had to come up with some key milestones that we could use to demonstrate our progress, and to reward and keep our backers engaged in the march to 100% throughout the campaign. And so you'll see we actually didn't hit our goal until a couple days before the end, but it was never really in doubt because the funding progress was pretty steady, and we were sort of tracking towards and trending towards funding the whole campaign. But a big part of that was by getting little bumps and surges throughout the campaign, and most of those bumps and surges came as we got close to our funding milestones. And so for our funding milestones, we ended up rewarding our backers with little sort of extras, making the campaign just a little bit better as we hit each one of those milestones. There are a lot of creators inside my community that use this tactic as well. And that are going on, with here's one campaign that's going on right now that I see they're using it. And what they're choosing to do, this is the Oneshi Press comics and Cthulhu and coffee Kickstarter campaign that's going on right now. And what they've decided to do here is they're doing backer milestones. So for every 10 backers, they're actually unlocking a new digital comic that is on brand and sort of mythos related. These are comics from their other creator friends and pals. Rob Multari did this as well as his milestone bonus strategy for his last Nightwolf campaign, where at 25%, 50%, 75%, 100%, etc. At each of those levels of the campaign, backers got an additional free digital comic. All right. And, Rob has definitely been able to sort of use that strategy and do very well for his stuff. All right. So those are some examples of how creators out there are employing this strategy. But if you're, curious about, how you can or what you can offer, I'm going to give you some tips for milestone bonuses. The first tip is that it doesn't really have to be anything that costs money or costs you additional money. And so a milestone bonus that you could unlock could just be as simple as unlocking a new reward. Let's say you have an extra variant cover that you were teasing, and then you make that available. You could tie that to hitting a certain milestone. It could be a reveal of a new teaser. So for some of our campaigns, we have pinups that we get from other friends and artists that we choose to reveal and tie that reveal to to a certain milestone. It could be a digital extra. And these can be things that actually don't have to take a lot of time to pull together. Something as simple as adding the comic book script to that all backers will get the comic book script when we hit 25% is something that you could do. Something that we've done, I mentioned Scam earlier. Something that we did there is one of those milestone bonuses was I compiled a digital sketchbook, just pulling together, say, 25 to 30 of Joe Mulvey's latest commissions or warm-up sketches or just doodles and art things that he's done over the past. And we get a lot of great feedback and people saying they love looking at that stuff. Again, it's not something that isn't out there. Like, this is stuff that we sort of ripped from his Instagram and from his Twitter, etc. So it's stuff that's been out there, but this is the first time you're collecting it and assembling it into a PDF format and giving that to backers as well. So again, what I've found over the years is that what the bonus is matters less than the bonus itself. And that you're tying that bonus to a milestone that is in reach. Okay. Now, for Rob and the Oneshi Press folks with the Tarmax campaign, you may be wondering, well, how are they getting all these digital comics that they can give away for free. And that's really the fact that they have access to those is a testament to that they get really invested into a comic creator community. They are involved in the greater comic community. They are, supportive of other creators that are in the crowdfunding space. I think every one of those comics that they're giving away for free is like a first issue they got from other creators who are also in this comic book community and in this comic book crowdfunding community. And inside, one of the things that we do inside of Comics Launch Pro is there is actually a Comics Launch exchange with now like well over 100 titles. And the way the exchange works is it's creators put a book up. It's sort of leave a book and you can take a book issue or deal. And so anyone where you make one of your digital books available for other creators to use during their launches as bonuses like this, and then you can also use their books. And so it works out really, really well. It hooks up backers and gets if you put a book in the exchange, it gets your stuff shared with a lot more backers than you might be able to reach on your own. And it adds a lot of extra value to Kickstarter campaigns. And so, that's just something that we've been able to facilitate inside of the Comics Launch Pro community that I run. But there are other creator communities out there where creators are willing to do this as well. So get involved with other creators and other communities, and you will have access to those as well. All right. And so, I want to just speak briefly to backer psychology a little bit, because you might be like, well, do these little bonuses really matter? I mean, isn't it more about the project and the book itself? And what I've found from, again, over 25 launches myself, and then over 400 launches of creators inside of Comics Launch Pro that have raised over $4 million for their launches, just about for everybody's campaigns, your backers are going to fall into one of three buckets. Either they're going to be early day one backers, and that's usually 20 to 30% of your total backers come out on the early side of things. Then it's, oh crap, time is running out backers. Those are like another 20 to 30% of backers that, like, doesn't matter how good the book is or what the book is. These backers are just people that put it off until the end, and then they jump in and are pretty reliable, but they come in at the end, and there's nothing you can really do to make them back earlier, right? But everybody else, the 40 to 60% of your total backers are people that are gonna back, but they just need an extra push to do it. And the milestone bonus strategy is really there for that third group. There are so many people that are in your audience that could back, should back, and would back your project, but they need that extra little reason to do it now versus all of the other things they could be doing. Right at the beginning of your Kickstarter campaign, there's a lot of momentum and people get sucked up into that to join. At the end of the Kickstarter campaign, it sort of becomes now or never. But it's in that middle campaign where people end up looking at campaigns 3, 4, 5 times, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm going to back that. Yeah, I'm going to back that." But for one reason or another, I don't have my credit card. I don't remember my login. I'm on my phone. I'm not getting Wi-Fi. There's all these reasons why they're not backing, even though they would, right? And so what the milestone bonus strategy does is it just gives that extra little incentive where backers can feel like their backing at that specific time actually has more impact. All right. Because if you're, 29% funded and there's something cool that happens at 30%, there's a lot of backers out there that's like, hey, yeah, I want to be the person that puts you over the top. And so that is another reason why this can be so powerful. All right. And then the other cool thing about these backer milestone bonus strategy is it's something that you can keep using until you get funded. All right. And there is rolling momentum of milestone bonuses. So like, that 30% example, before, let's say you're at 29%, and you can put out on social or on your email list or other things, hey, we're so close to getting to our 30% milestone bonus where we're going to unlock X or Y. And what this tells backers is, oh, hey, yeah, there's something cool that happens at 30%. I can maximize my backing, the impact of my backing by jumping in now. All right. And so that happens. You get a surge of backing, you get over that 30%. And so then this gives you a new story to tell. You can say, hey, we just unlocked our 30% milestone bonus. This progress, we're making progress. We're getting closer. And this campaign just got even more valuable. And guess what? You can actually go get this now. And that announcing that progress sends the message to the world that, hey, this is a train that's running. This is a winning campaign. This is a campaign that's on the come up. And that makes backers more likely to jump in and engage with it. All right. And so that has an added effect. And then now give it another day and you've got another milestone. Hey, we're closing in on that 45% funded milestone. And here's what's going to happen at 45%. And that becomes the new story. All right. And so you can do this as long as it takes. You can break it up into as many pieces and many chunks as feels right, so that every single day of the campaign, you are not just playing a game of, are we there yet? Instead, you're keeping the focus on the progress that you've made and the cool thing that's coming up next. All right. I think of a bunch of kids in the back of the car. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Instead of just being a parent saying, no, stop asking. No, stop annoying me. No, like that's a miserable car ride. A better strategy is to say, guess what? We are just X miles away from cool thing that you're going to drive by. X miles away from this state's border. X miles away from this cool thing that we're going to see along the way. And that's a much better way to break up that trip. All right. And there's a reason crowdfunding efforts are called campaigns and not sales or just anything else. Like, this is what a campaign looks like. A campaign is not a sprint to funding and that's it, right? Rather, it's a journey. And these journeys can be punctuated by cool stops and bonuses along the way that you, the creator, have to sort of draw out and call out. But when you do this, it turns your campaign into an experience for your backers, not just a simple transaction. And what I've found in my years of doing this is that when you give your backers a good crowdfunding experience along with a really great product, that's how you turn fans into super fans and super fans into evangelists that keep coming back again and again and again and keep talking up your products to others so that you get more fans. And so, to sum this up, if you have a long ways to go until funding, stop focusing on your distance and how far you have to get to that 100% funding mark, and instead start breaking up that journey to discrete milestones along the way. Tie a cool, simple bonus that you're going to give or celebrate with your backers to those milestones, and then make the focus of your promotion just on that, how close you are to that very next milestone and how awesome it's going to be when you get to unlock it. All right. So those are your action items. Determine if you're in the middle of a campaign right now and you're not funded yet, determine what that next milestone is you're going to promote. Think of a bonus that you can give to your backers to celebrate that milestone, and then promote that, just that, how close you are to that next milestone on all of your socials, all of your emails, on your campaign updates, and anywhere and everywhere that you can reach potential people that are sitting on the fence just looking for that one little extra reason to come in and back you. And I guarantee you, you're going to see more momentum than you would if you're just focused on, we got a long ways to go. All right. Hope that helps. Again, get that free comic book Kickstarter roadmap guide that I put together for you to help you plan your first or next successful launch in a profitable way at comicslaunch.com/roadmap. And listen to the Comics Launch podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And I can't wait to see what you launch next. Take care.